Everybody, it's mL7 yet again, and today we're going to be doing a Silver 4 Kiriko, Baptiste, Ana VOD review. We're gonna see what they played in the key moments, okay? Key moment 1. This is the first fight in defense. I was healing my team until I lost LOS of my hog. So I TP'd to him and to heal him. Then I got focused by Farah, and I know we don't have a hit scan in our team, so I tried to kill her, but I died while TPing out. How could I have done this fight better? Okay, let's see you, Mr. Prince. Let's see what you did here. Let's open the game. 048 to 153. This is like a whole minute. Okay, the first fight of the game, actually. The first fight of the game is one... I would say that the first fight of the game is the most important fight. Because depending on how well it goes, some enemies might get tilted. You know, if you play it right. Okay, we're still watching this. I don't know what Hog is doing there. This is silver, by the way, so... Okay. Nice healing the Hog. I mean, Ana can take care of Hog. You can take care of Hog. Oh, TP then. Okay, still doing damage. You just got baited by something that they forgot to change in Overwatch 2, by the way. I don't know if you played in Overwatch 1. I'm gonna go over it in a second. The fight is still happening. Okay, I want to cover 3 or 4 things now. Ooh, nice going for the Farah there. Yeah. Close. I respect that. So, let's go step by step. Number 1. Think what your role as a support is in this team comp, as in, do you have to be a heal bot or not? Playing with heroes like Torbjorn, that has his E, which makes him a little bit tanky. Junker that spams from range. Roadhog that has his vape. Ana that usually plays from a distance and can provide massive amounts of healing. And this team comp specifically, if you have another support that can do massive amounts of healing and your heroes, your allies are what I like to call self-sufficient, as in they don't need permanent pocket, you can do something else other than healing. You have more liberty. You can be more of a DPS support, more of a TikTok support in this case. Because what I mean by this is, if you have 2 mass healing supports in your team, then if both of you heal the 3 allies, then that's less pressure onto the enemies, because only 3 people are doing damage to them. Secondly, you're gonna get your ultimate slower because both of you are doing the same thing. And thirdly, it is usually not optimal because Roadhog can vape, right? That's not the biggest thing to take away from this, though. Because with time, you'll see that some heroes are self-sufficient, some heroes are not. To simplify this example, Roadhog, you shouldn't care about him that much, okay? If he's low, he's gonna heal himself up. This is good at the beginning. You ping, you stay, you ping, you heal him up a little bit. Ana doesn't heal. This is good so far, okay? Now, this is where it gets complicated. Playing against Farah Mercy, while you don't have a character that has the tools necessary to deal with Farah Mercy, usually means that if you invest resources into that duo in the sky, you'll waste your time. What's gonna happen? Are you going to land 2 headshots onto a Mercy flying in the sky? Or are you probably going to land some damage shots onto a big chunky tank in front of you with a big shield, and maybe even headshots onto a squishy in a narrow direction that they're walking towards? So in this case, if you're playing Widowmaker that has a 1-shot and that's your job to like do damage, then of course focus your attention here, right? This is 1 kunai, 2 kunai, you heal. But imagine if you would have landed 1 out of those 2 kunais onto the Ana headshot. She might have used the nade. She might have asked for mercy healing. Like, it's like this. The probability of you killing the Farah Mercy, or even applying pressure to them that they don't care about, because you can 1-shot them in this case, and you don't have a counter for Farah Mercy, is incredibly low, right? Like, they will just be tickled. But the probability of you landing a shot over here in front is higher than the one of you doing stuff here. I play Overwatch on a daily basis for like, what, 8-10 hours sometimes a day, and I'm telling you, as Kiriko, it's almost impossible to kill a Farah Mercy in the sky, especially from this distance. I like the rhythm, by the way. The fact that you're doing the rhythm is really good. Like, you heal, you throw some kunai. This is good. You heal, you just left click. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? It's Silver 4. Perfect. Heal a bit. Just a bit. Nice. Okay. One small mechanical thing. This is why I like keep moments, because in like 20 or 30 seconds, we can go over a bunch of things. One small mechanical thing. Kiriko's healing, Harofuda, takes time to travel, okay? So this means that once you lock onto the Torbjorn and you throw a bunch of heal, you can do something else, right? You don't need to look at Torbjorn until the healing arrives. So let me play this in 0.25. You have really good rhythm, by the way, and movement, I would say. So over here is low HP. You throw that. It's not full. I understand the second one. You just right-click.
My gift to you.
Stop looking at him. The second these ones leave from this, you don't have to look at him. You know? Like, just throw a couple of them. Turn around fast. Look, this is again pressure onto the Fire Mercy that could have been applied. Maybe a headshot onto the Reinhardt. Maybe a headshot onto the Ashe. Maybe a headshot onto Diana in the back. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is the massive bait that I feel like Blizzard has done to supports in Overwatch 2, and a lot of players are getting baited by it, and they think that they're playing the role bad. They're playing support bad. It's about the fact that after a certain amount of HP, the color of the outline changes, right? So right now, if you go around the wall, you're gonna see that Hog is yellow. He's yellow. And now, you see the plus sign. Well, in Overwatch 1, this would mean that he's about to die. In Overwatch 2, he has 300 HP. He has more HP than any other squishy on the map right now. And he also has his own vape, you know? So you got baited here, thinking that he's going to die really fast. If this would have been Overwatch 1, perfect. But over here, when you see the plus sign, understand that you do not have to go instantly to save them, right? You don't have to go instantly to save them. As a tank, as a DPS, yes, you can commit, because it is based upon percentages of HP rather than actual HP. Like, even here, you wouldn't panic. You would panic if he would be all red with a plus sign on him. That's when you would want a Suzu. You know, because he's safe. Like, you saw the plus sign and he was almost like half HP. So don't get baited by that. Let's continue watching this. Okay, let's talk about the Suzu usage just for a split second. Suzu usage with Kiriko can be covered in 3 ways. I'm gonna say it in 2 ways to keep it very simple. Number 1, it can be used to prevent massive amounts of damage, which is the harder use, which is the one that you wanted to go for here, as in you feel like they're going to damage them, so you throw the Suzu to avoid damage. You use it kind of like similar to a Baptiste lamp, but you can use it a little bit earlier so that they don't get low HP in the first place. Secondly, which is the easiest one to do, and I recommend you doing that consistently, is you can use it to cancel enemy cooldowns. In this case, to cancel the negative abilities that the enemies might have. In this case, they have Earth Shatter, they have TNT, they have Ana Nade, they have Ana Sleep Dart. So when you're playing Kiriko, think about this first with the Suzu. If they have abilities that I can cancel with my Suzu, then I'm gonna save my Suzu just for them. Secondly, if my team is getting low HP, then I can Suzu them then too. This will simplify your Kiriko gameplay a ton. The higher you climb in ranked, the more you will see that one of these plays is a bit more nuanced, as in, instead of using it as a lamp, use it when a big chunk of damage is about to happen and they're full HP. To explain this a little bit, because you might know what I mean, if Winston jumps in and his bubble is about to break and he's in front of 5 enemies, but Winston's full HP, obviously, when the bubble is going to break, everybody is going to shoot Winston. So you'd want to Suzu him so that he doesn't take that much damage, right? Kind of like a mini tank ability. He's tanky for a bit, right? You're making him invincible for a bit. But a third usage that you can do is the higher you climb in rating, maybe you can even apply it in these games, is to use the Suzu selfishly. As in, you go, you throw some kunai, 1, 2 kunai, they turn around to look at you, you Suzu yourself, you throw 1 more kunai, and then you get out. So you can use the Suzu for yourself rather than your team. But in this case, particularly, if you want to use the Suzu to prevent damage from coming in or to save your teammates, you have to be a little bit closer to them to do so. If not, then wait for the negative abilities to happen to cancel them out. Why? Because like the sleep dart and the nade forces something. The Suzu thrown like this doesn't force anything from the enemies. Does that make sense? Like Suzu in this case is defensive always, while nade is aggressive. These shots onto the Pharah were good. With one big problem though. Do 2 or 3 kunai maximum. If you're in a 1 versus 1, then get the hell away from there. Landing shots with Kiriko is very inconsistent. It's very hard to do. And everybody has a lot of moments, I would say. Even top players have their moments. And if somebody tells me otherwise, then yeah, just look at your VODs. Like, seriously now, it's so hard to get proper aim with Kiriko. It's really hard. Sometimes you land every shot, sometimes you don't. Knowing when you're missing is the most important thing with Kiriko in these duels. This shot was good. Good, that's it. Out, out, out. Literally out, out. You could have survived this rocket. You know, you could have TP'd back to Diana. Or, if you didn't Suzu earlier, you could have Suzu'd yourself and get another shot then without dying. And you might have finished this. You know what I mean? So to summarize, and another thing that I want to talk about, and then we're going to summarize this entire team fight, you can take multiple angles. Or, you can take multiple angles, but don't overcomplicate it. What I mean by this is that in the beginning, you saw that your teammates were playing from the same spots. So the enemies are like funneling through this middle area, while you have teammates playing from the left side, teammates playing from the right side. This means that the enemies, from their point of view, they see enemies left, they see enemies right. Now, if you create a multiple angle of attack because of your teleport usage, you could play from the left side. Like, for example, from over here. So the enemies have to look left side, right side, and anywhere in this direction. As long as you have somebody to TP back to when you pressure them, this might cause them to look at you, and if they look at you, then that's a resource from them, which might lead into one landing a sleep dart, Junkrat getting a kill, Roadhog getting a hook, and the minimum that you can get is get ult charge, you know? So you can play on the side, pressure them, boom. If you don't want to stress yourself out with that, because I can definitely feel like the heart pumping in those situations, then don't overcomplicate it and spam in the most probable choke point that they're going to walk through. You might land a headshot. So to summarize this entire fight from the beginning and what habits you can develop from them. Number 1, if you have another mass healing support in your team that can heal your teammates, and you're playing Kiriko, I would suggest going more assassin playstyle, as in try to shoot a little bit more rather than focusing on healing. Your key rhythm was really good, so keep doing that with your mechanics. But number 2, don't overcomplicate what you're doing. You are not the counter to Pharah Mercy, okay? If they're close, go for the shots, fine. But if they're not, throwing 4 or 5 kunai in the sky, Pharah and Mercy are just going to completely ignore that. Even if you don't have a counter in your team, you're better off at shooting the Rein Shield, shooting the Reinhardt, shooting the Ashe, shooting Diana. Maybe you kill them, and maybe Pharah and Mercy are the only 2 alive in the sky. I know it's hard, but try to control yourself against Pharah and Mercy and just pressure somebody else. If you see top 500 players doing it, and they land a body shot onto a Pharah, that's because they expect somebody else to be able to follow up on that. You will not see this usually in these ratings though. Okay. The third part, which we covered, is about do not get baited if you see the plus sign on your tank, especially if it's a self-sufficient tank. Self-sufficient tanks, I would say, are Roadhog, Sigma. That's about it, I guess. Zarya has bubbles, but you can damage her a lot. Reinhardt, if his shield is broken, he's dead. No, it's literally Hog and Sigma, like the 2 very good self-sufficient tanks. And I would say Ball too, with his mobility. Ball too. Orisa also has cooldowns. It's debatable and stuff. Out of my experience, if I see Ball, Roadhog, or Sigma, I'm not going to care about them that much if they're low HP. Any other tank, I'll care about them a bit more, you know? Don't view... Here's another thing, like, whenever you're playing, if your team is taking damage or a ton of damage, it's not your fault, okay? They can always avoid taking this much damage. You know, you don't have to... Yes, you have to heal them up, but they can avoid taking damage by playing around walls a little bit more. Oh yeah, Doomfist too. So over here, like when you TP to Roadhog, when you see the plus sign, remember that he has his Vape ability up, right? He has his Vape ability up. Like right now, boom, he's backing out. Even if he doesn't have it up, this is just a little bit over his half HP. Plus, the enemies are too far away to capitalize on this. So you TP in, you save him, and that's it. This could have been additional pressure done from the side. So what if Hog's low? He can always back out over here. So don't get baited by the plus sign. A fourth thing in this case, is to save Suzu for abilities, or for yourself, if you feel more confident, or for to prevent like massive amounts of damage rather than just throwing it a bit as a lamp. Another tip from this is when you're focusing somebody, don't overinvest kunais into them, don't overinvest resources. You do some damage and then you get the hell away from there if you can't finish the kill. If you can't get them in like 3 or 4 kunai, I would recommend doing something else. Other than that, this was okay-ish in the first fight. But you see, out of one team fight, how many things we extracted. Let's continue. This fight, I wasn't on high ground. Maybe a bad idea because my Ana was there and I didn't want the enemy Winston and Reaper jump on both of us, so I played on ground. I got jumped by Winston, so I kept on hitting my tank and tried to save him and jumped on the last moment to see Reaper on my Ana, and we died both. What could I have done better here? Okay, probably just split angle before the fight, I assume. There's a free time you could watch my own attack. I'm a new player. Okay, and recently decided to play comp in this game as a placement game and you got silver 4. I think my birthday grenade aim on Baptiste and my decision making is the problem. Okay, this is a new player. 545. Let's watch this. 545. This is going to be with Baptiste, okay? This is not with we'd have to re-enter the game. This is not with Kiriko. So far we have Kiriko and Baptiste. Pretty good, yeah. For a new player, this is really good. Okay. Yeah, that happens. Okay. Welcome to Support Gameplay 101. Everybody's going to be like, so hear me out. Everybody's going to be like, yeah, but Mr. Streamer, what you're saying doesn't make sense. Like, oh. Hear me out. Support gameplay is usually seen as very passive gameplay. In a game of Overwatch, even if you're playing support, you have to have initiative. You can have initiative by going playing on high ground. You can have initiative by making the enemies even look at you. You can have initiative by using abilities at the enemies. You can have initiative by going on the side. You have to have initiative. Let's watch your gameplay just from this point of view and see what happened. Okay, just watch it from here. So you're staying here. Now, what do the enemies see? What do the enemies see? They can see Diana that's being incredibly passive in Narnia. I think she just came back, actually. They can see Baptiste. They can only see... Okay, we're getting pressured a little bit. A little bit. You know how you need to view Overwatch? Kind of like... Let's do a drawing. Yeah, I think it's best to do a drawing to explain this. Okay, I'm gonna do a big drawing. So, I'm sorry for your eyes, flashbang. So, these are the enemies, right? These are the enemies. They're over here. Now, you have five people. Now, imagine... This is like a big wall, right? This is like a big wall. And you have one of you is playing here. One of you is playing here, right? And then you have 3 of them playing from here, here, and here. Now, the enemies, okay, fine. Pew, 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 pew. But then you upgrade. You upgrade your tower defenses. And then you move these 2 over here. And then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now, pew, 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 pew. You know, you increase the fire rate, you increase the pressure. Even if it doesn't feel for the enemies that much pressure, eventually they will succumb to your pressure. They will succumb, okay? So always, doesn't matter the goal, you have to pressure. You can't wait for things to happen. Support doesn't mean that you have to wait and clean up for the mistakes of your teammates, which is what you did here. You played support the way that everybody expects you to play support. By the way, quick tip. If a squishy is less, if you see a squishy with a plus sign on them, don't try to go for the right click on them. Try to press shift instantly, regenerative perks, because if they're less than 50% HP, they receive more healing. So instead of trying to aim there, just try to press shift when you see that plus sign and you're like in range of them. That's number 1 small tip. Number 2 small tip is always think the following. Okay? We're gonna go over positioning in a second, but think the following. Fight is about to start. What can I do to the enemies? That is the question that you can ask yourself. What can I do to the enemies? I'm playing Baptiste. What can I do to them? I cannot throw the lamp at them. I cannot throw my healing at them. I can maybe use my window to pressure them. I can shoot them. And I can position myself a little bit better. Like, what can you do to them? You know? What can you do? Because right now, the enemies, when they're walking, even if they're not thinking that much what to play, it's all about, like, seeing you. Imagine you're a new player to the game, and then you see somebody playing from here. Oh, my God. So you have somebody here, go down to the guy. Too many tasks, you know? Too many things to focus on. Rather than, yeah, they're in front of us. Okay, let's approach this. They're in front of us. Now, positioning-wise, to develop on this step, where you should have started. Playing from this range, when you want to play aggressive, you have to think what can kill you from long range. If they don't have one-shots, then you can play from a very good position, like from over here, and they can't one-shot you. One-shot heroes are, I would say, Zenyatta's right-click, which you can listen for, Widowmaker headshot, or Hanzo headshot, or Sojourn charged up. Ashe, if she doesn't have a damage boost, cannot one-shot you. Although, you are probably afraid of Ashe and Kiriko shooting you. So you didn't want to start on top of this ship. But you know what you can do? You can play from over here. And you can just peek this and shoot a little bit. Even if you're not getting damage in. Even if you're missing. It is better for the enemies to see you and make them think that they have to do stuff to you here. Rather than not see you and not complicating the problem. You know, it's kind of like... I'm gonna open a notepad very fast. So it's like this. So here's the problem. You have 5 apples and sell 2. How many apples do you have if the 3 apples can mutate and multiply, and also they are alien apples and can... Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're complicating the problem. The initial premises would be you just staying there, but if you have like more of stuff like this, it's just... Big problem though. Big problem though. When you do this, you have to be as aggressive as you can without dying. And you have 2 options of doing this. You can either stay in front of them and die a lot and get flamed if you have the strength of taking it and learn from your mistakes fast, or you can just like dip your toes into the water. As in every team fight, try to do a bit of damage before the fight. Like just a bit, just one shot, just make the enemies look at you, just take a bit of damage, just get used to it, just a little bit. And with time, add a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, okay? Try to do stuff like this. Now, positioning-wise, obviously you should have started on high ground. You're scared of playing from here. You can continuously charge your jump, by the way, and then just jump here and maybe do some damage to them. And when the fight engages, think about where you want to walk. So in this case, if you see a Winston jumping in, yes, you can always just back out and play close to Diana in the back. This is like one thing that I'm not seeing. You're not using your exo boots that much. Take advantage of all of your mobility. Okay. A simpler way of approaching the team fight, in case like if you feel like they're going to get aggressive, is at the beginning of the fight, instead of playing on high ground, oh my god, I'm scared of doing this, streamer. I'm a new player, I'm scared of doing this. Fine. Just look at them from over here, shoot them a bit, then go back and find a body, which usually is on high ground. In this case, it's Ana. Stay close to Ana, because this is enough range to help them out. Right? Imagine you would have did some damage, Winston jumps in, you back out, you go on top. Always when you're playing against heroes like Genji or like Winston, that when they have like movement abilities that they can do damage to if they reach you, your goal is to stay outside of that range. So, for example, Winston jumps from here and can land here. You should never get placed in this position, almost never. You should be a little bit far away, like over here, so that when he jumps you, he's not going to do damage with his melee when he drops on you. But he still wants to go for you because he's in zap range. It's what I always called, you have to be juicy. You have to bait the dive. So in this case, yes, do some damage, and then maybe back out, bait the Winston to come to you so you can just disengage afterwards. Your intentions are good, by the way. I wouldn't get discouraged at all. Like, I honestly feel like you have a lot of potential. Your intentions are really good. It's just that you have information all over the place. You know what I mean? This is what's happening. You have information all over the place. You have a lot of things to improve on. But I'm definitely seeing that you like the game. Now what you have to do is the following. You have to sort through the information. You can work on a bunch of things. And you're already doing a pretty advanced stuff. I'm honest with you. You're doing pretty advanced stuff already. But I will go in all-off review now. And I'll give you what I would say the fastest steps in your player in your situation to win the games fast on support. So let me open the document, go in Teaching Tuesday, and cover this a little bit. Let me lower this down. Let's change the data. We're going in all-off review. Okay, so first things first. For a new player to Overwatch, your aim is kind of decent. I'm not joking. Of course, anybody can benefit from their aim. So if you want to do like some from aim training, their aim, forehead, you can just do some aim trainings before and you'll see better results and stuff. But your aim is not your weak point. Your positioning though, Overwatch is a big game about positioning, right? A big game about positioning. So obviously you should know where you should play from. But I feel like you have a pretty good understanding of what you want to do. So I'm just going to keep it at 25. Let's continue with this. This is like 35. Okay. This is what? 60, 70, 90. No, I don't want to do it like this. Wait, I'm Pepega. Excuse my Pepeganess. Nailed it. There you go. This looks perfect. This looks perfect. I could have set it up differently, but this looks perfect. So hear me out. Aim and positioning are the things that you should work on that much, I would say. I feel like you have a pretty good understanding of aiming. Obviously, doing some workshop modes and doing aim lab and other stuff like that will help you win more games, but that's not the primary thing that you gotta do. Secondly, positioning is pretty good. I feel like you have a good understanding of where you should stay in general when things are already happening. So when you're presented with a problem, you know what to do, you know? Your issue is setting things up before they happen. And I have to talk about this from a cooldown management and a decision-making point of view. What I mean is the following. First things first. Be proactive. This is the best tip I can give you in Overwatch with any hero that you're playing, in any role that you're playing. If you're just waiting for things to happen to you, you have to punish the enemies making mistakes. But when you're a new player, what are the mistakes? And what are the best ways to punish the mistakes with the least amount of resources? It gets too complicated. Being proactive is easier to do. What I mean by this as a support is see enemies before fight. If they don't have one-shots. See enemies before fights. That's all. I'm not joking. That's all. You have to look at them, so they have to look at you so you don't feel afraid. If you want to shoot them, you shoot them. If you want to go for aggressive stuff, go for aggressive stuff. Throw the nade, throw the sleep, whatever. Just do things to the enemies. Just do stuff to the enemies. Don't be a consequence of the game. Be the main problem of the game. Okay? Make the enemy scared of you. There's a Baptiste left side. There's a Baptiste on high ground. Why is nobody shooting the Baptiste? Why is nobody helping me with the Kiriko? What is happening? You have to be the main character. Okay? You signed for the entire duration of the game. You're not an episodic character. You don't have to wait and save your teammates and be the savior and stuff. You can be the proactive one. You have to take control of your destiny. Okay, now, literally being proactive. While being proactive, there's a big star. This is the big star at 1. Be proactive, but don't forget about teammates. That's the thing with supports. A lot of people go like,
Wait, mL7 saying that the support on Children is going in my games. Wait.
No. So hear me out. Be proactive, do stuff to the enemies, but don't forget about your teammates. As in, go for 3 or 4 kunai, then look at your teammates. You know what I mean? Like, do some stuff before and then help your teammates. Help your teammates, okay? Because you're a support and you're supposed to support your team. Thirdly, don't overcomplicate it. As in, pick something to do very easily. Think about the easiest action that you can do while getting the maximum amount of results and do that action. For example, you're playing against Mercy and you don't have a counter and you kind of like can land kunai and see how much we're complicating it compared to, I look at Reinhardt, I shoot at Reinhardt. Overwatch is a game, and this is what the meta always evolves to as a parallel to this. It's about the highest amount of value with the lowest amount of risk. This is why, in theory, you can play a certain team comp to counter a team comp, but when you add all the factors, it's really impossible. You know what I mean? Like it's really improbable, not impossible. So you want to play with heroes, and you want to approach the game in a way that you don't have to do that much to win. We've actually done this yesterday, for example. We're gonna post a video on the main channel. I'm gonna go a little bit, like 2 or 3 minutes over the VOD, because I've done a lot of parallels, in which we played the highest win rate heroes versus the lowest win rate heroes with the same players, and we swapped teams and stuff. And the highest win rate heroes always won. So it's like this. You can get a certain amount of value very easy. Why not use it? Why overcomplicate your life? So do it nice and slow, you know? Like, highest amount of value with the lowest amount of risk. Okay, another thing that I would say is, this is also, think about what you can do to the enemy, not the other way around. And the reason why I'm stressing this is like the same tip reformulated in so many ways, is because if you're the one that's taking charge, you will see that you'll be presented with easier problems to solve. Because you'll force cooldowns for the enemies, and Winston's gonna dive into you, and he's gonna dive alone. Or he's gonna dive with low HP. Why? Because you forced something before. And I feel like when you're presented with a problem, you know how to solve it. Like, you realize, you're new to the game, but you realize that you should have stayed on high ground, you should have stayed and helped Ana there, you should have done that. Like, you know what to do. The issue is setting things up before they happen. You know, before they happen. So be proactive, think about what you can do to the enemy, do stuff. And another thing that I can do is do 3 aggressive plays per game. Quantity, okay? Quantity. As in, shoot the enemy a bit. Literally, in the team fight, or before the team fight, shoot the enemy a bit. Go for a risky flank. Do something aggressive to the enemy. Do an aggressive window. This, in my opinion, out of your review, you being a new player to the game, this has, percentage-wise, thank you, love. I got some food, chat. I would say more than 80% out of all of the individual tips that I could have given you. This is probably the highest amount of fast improvement I can give you. The highest tip that I can give you. Literally, set up the fights before they happen, and you will be presented with less problems. It's like setting up for something bad to happen before that something bad happens, you know, and you're set up and you're in control, compared to it just hits you. You know what I mean? So keep on playing the game. Don't get discouraged if you don't know anything. You have a lot of potential. I like that you understand the game, but try to do more stuff to the enemies rather than to your allies, you know? And with that being said, I hope that you can climb, and good luck. Good luck.